What's up? Welcome back to Jeff and Russ Played, our less formal video game review series, where we don't do RPGs, we do whatever we feel like.
Exactly.
So, Russ picked the first game, so I wanted to pick the second game, and I picked a childhood favorite of mine, A Boy and His Blob.
Yay! And this is, unlike all of our Home on the RNG series, this is a game that I have no experience with. I played the Wii version and have never played the NES version, ever, before.
So I have a deep and rich personal history.
Very good.
With A Boy and His Blob.
Finally. I almost don't even believe that you played video games as a child.
For whatever reason, I read about it in Nintendo Power and I became obsessed with this game. So the general idea of A Boy and His Blob is, you're a boy. And a blob comes to Earth. And he tells you, help, my home planet is under attack from the evil king. I forget his name, but it's probably Blob related. Everything in the game is.
Blobberina. I don't know.
No, that's the name of the girl in the sequel.
Sure.
So
Certainly. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
I think it's Blobella, Princess Blobella, something
Cute.
like that. So, the blob has a special ability. If you feed him jelly beans, he changes shape. So, the different flavor of jelly beans do different shapes, so the idea is to take all these different shapes and solve puzzles and beat the game. And reading about it, it sounded fascinating to me because it sounded like as close to an open world game as my young mind could conceive of, because I could turn the blob into anything, and I could solve these puzzles different ways.
So you had an active imagination as a child.
Yeah, I No Man's Skied myself as a kid a lot. It's going to let me do everything.
That's horrible.
That's so
You must have had a very disappointing childhood when it came to video games.
So I became obsessed with this game, except I forgot to tell my parents, the people who buy the video games for you, because you're a really little kid and you don't have an allowance or anything. And there was one particular trip where my mother went out of town to visit her mother, and when she came back, I was convinced that she was going to bring me a present when she came back, and that it was going to be this game that I'd been obsessed about for months, that I hadn't told her about.
Sure, of course. Because she's telepathic.
Yeah, of course she didn't bring the game, because she didn't know about the game. And I was crushed. I was devastated. I was very upset. Which is stupid, obviously. I'm an adult now. I'm really a little embarrassed by this story. I gotta be honest. So, later on, I told my mother I thought she was going to be bringing that back, and it was the first she'd ever heard of it, so they went out and got it. And I got to play it.
Which was your plan all along.
Yes, I was Machiavellian.
Was to guilt your mother into buying you this game.
I was a Machiavellian little 5-year-old or whatever
that is
age.
quite all right, because I certainly did do that.
So I never beat the game as a kid, though. I played it a lot of times. I never even got to the halfway mark of the game.
I won't hold that against you, because no child could possibly beat this game.
So,
especially no modern child with the hand-holding that we have in games now.
So, when we were working on this project, I thought, let's do A Boy and His Blob. It'll be a chance for me to beat the game. And I did. I sat down, played it, beat it in 40 minutes. It was really kind of nice. It was easy.
Sure. It was so easy.
Russ, I don't think beat the game.
I did not beat the game. I will admit that I did not beat the game. It took me a long time to figure out how to do anything. And then I had gotten the gist of it, so...
Yeah, I kept waiting for Russ to call me and be like, what am I supposed to do next? In fact, I told him to call me when he got stuck. And
I didn't want to admit my failure.
Yeah, so instead he watched the rest of the game on YouTube, I think.
I did, yeah.
So, I really like the game. It is challenging. There's a logic puzzle element to it. There's an action game element to it. And even as a kid, I was really surprised by the level of detail that was put into the game. I've got a clip here. One of the most intricate things, I think, is the sliding. So you don't just come to a dead stop when you stop running. You slide. And if you happen to slide off a cliff just right, your character will actually float in midair, will look at you, will look down at the ground, and then will fall. And while all that's happening, you actually have the opportunity to run back to the ledge And if you can make it back to the ledge before the fall animation starts, you're safe. It's a very cartoony element.
Yes, the creator was, I guess, a big fan of Wile E. Coyote.
I think part of it might have been honestly intended to give young players a chance.
Yeah.
Because of the sliding, it's very easy to slide yourself right off a cliff and misjudge it by just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you misjudge it by just a bit, you can run back in time. If you misjudge it by a lot, you're going to fall. You fall one screen, you're dead. The boy actually can fall a pretty decent distance, but one full screen and that's it.
Yeah.
So, what did you think overall, Russ? What memories did you pull away?
Overall, I thought it was fun once I figured out what to do. There are a lot of different types of jelly beans, and it's all about. I did appreciate that it's all about experimentation. It doesn't hold your hand, so you basically just have to give the blob a jelly bean and see what it does, and then if that helps you in your situation, then great. And if not, then you just wasted a jelly bean, which is a big deal because you only have so many of each type of jelly bean.
But you can find more
and then
scattered throughout.
Yeah.
What's funny is, since I played this game so many times as a kid, even though I never beat it, when I played it again as an adult, I still remembered what all the jelly bean flavors did.
Yeah, that's helpful. That would be helpful.
All of them. Even ketchup. I still know what ketchup does.
Well, it catches up.
Yes, but
See, that one's pretty obvious.
if you can actually make the blob eat a ketchup jelly bean, which requires glitching the game, he turns into a brick wall.
Really? I did not even know that.
The coating is in there. It serves no function.
Mm-hmm.
But neither does the coconut, really. The coconut can be used to look ahead.
Yeah.
But you could beat the entire game and never use a single coconut jelly bean.
Yeah.
The first half of the game is essentially it's a dungeon crawl. Mm-hmm. You go into the sewers. It's underneath the subway is apparently a big subterranean cavern full of treasure and bouncing centipedes.
Which is true in real life, so if you go to New York, just
look out for those bouncing centipedes.
Yeah, go into the don't go into the sewers, kids. Kids, don't go into the sewers.
No, we all float down here. That's where the clown from It lives.
Remember that.
So it's a lot of puzzle solving. How do I get over this chasm? How do I get down into this water? How do I get that treasure? How do I get this treasure? And basically you do a circuit underground, and you work your way back up to the top again. Once you get back to the top, you've gotten all this money from treasures, you can go buy some vitamins. Because once I've been cave hunting, I like to take all my diamonds and treasure boxes and buy vitamins.
Because this game is really about popping pills.
You don't have...
the jelly beans.
You don't have to get all the treasures. I missed 2 on my playthrough. How many treasures you get determine how many vitamins you get. The more vitamins you have, the easier the second half of the game is. The second half of the game, you throw a root beer jelly bean out, and the blob turns into a rocket, and you take off, and you fly to Blobonia.
Because of course you do.
Where you turn your blob into a vitamin shooter, and then you shoot vitamins at everything. You are now a war machine. It becomes a shooting game.
Mm-hmm.
You have to shoot cherry bombs before they hit the ground and kill you. You have to shoot chocolate kisses at some point. They scroll through. Mm-hmm. I think this is about the point that you got to, isn't it?
It is. I got to shooting the cherries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got
Oh, did you get past the bouncing marshmallows?
Got to shoot the cherry. No.
Okay, so you got right to the beginning of Blobonia. Then you get all the way to the end, where you use the apple jelly bean for the first and only time. You only get 2 of them in the game, and you only use 1 of them to open up the door to the end boss. And as soon as you open it up, the blob is captured, and he's in this cage. And you actually have to run back and forth to build up some speed, because there's a little rock right here. If you hit the rock, you die, because the boy's very fragile. You have to run back and forth to build up enough speed to throw an apple to the blob. I said apple was the key, didn't I? Lime is the key, because it's a key lime.
Lime is the key.
Apple is the jack.
Is the
it's
jack.
an apple jack.
Apple jack, key lime. See the pun. See the...
Yeah, a punch jelly bean is a hole. Punch hole. Hole
Right.
punch.
Hole punch.
Coconut. Cola bubble.
Vanilla is umbrella. which
Vanilla
doesn't really
Umbrella.
make
It doesn't
sense.
quite work. Tangerine Trampoline.
Yeah, those are just kind of
Cinnamon Torch. They're both spicy.
similar words. Vanilla Umbrella.
Vanilla Umbrella. And there are multiple ways to solve... And then you beat the game. But there are multiple ways to solve some of the problems. There's a place where rocks fall from the sky. And the general approach is to use the umbrella.
Yeah.
But you can also use the cola bubble there, and it's actually a lot easier. It's just... There's a couple of different ways to go about it. I think I'm running out of things to say about A Boy and His Blob.
I enjoyed it. It made me want to go eat jelly beans, and I did. So
Yeah, there's that. It
was probably sponsored by the Jelly Bean Company.
They did do a sequel on the Game Boy, which is A Boy and His Blob, The Rescue of Princess Blobella, or something like that. And I played the heck out of that as a kid, too. I like the puzzle-solving aspect of the games. Yeah. The only thing I really don't like about this first game is the music. Because it's one song played forever. Forever.
Yeah, that's a downfall of a lot of NES
It's very
games.
bubble bobble.
Yeah.
It's one song.
Right.
You better get used to this 60 seconds of music, because it's all you're going to hear. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes the blob wouldn't stand exactly where you wanted.
Yeah.
And sometimes the blob would get a personality. If you missed throwing a jelly bean into his mouth, he'd get grumpy, and he'd stop being helpful until you threw him another jelly bean to make up for the one you wasted. But they worked in mechanics. The ketchup, in case you lose your blob somewhere, you just throw ketchup at the ground and the blob teleports. And then the honey turns him into a hummingbird and lets him fly up to wherever you are. Mm-hmm. So that's it. I liked it because I was obsessed with it as a child. It's a fun little game. I was surprised at how quick and easy it was to beat as an adult, since I could not beat it as a kid at all.
Yeah. Well, as long as you know what you're doing.
That's the real thing. You need to know, okay, in this first part, you're going down into the subterranean and you're looking for treasures, and then you want to get back out again. That's what you're doing in the first part. So, once you know that, and then you go and you shoot up some candy.
With vitamins.
With vitamins. That's the real lesson.
That's the message.
Vitamins solve everything.
Right, exactly. So
I wish I had a jar of vitamins.
So the lesson is, children, don't eat your vegetables.
Eat vitamins.
And then just take vitamins. So Big Pharma and jelly beans were the sponsors.
Is there a difference between vitamins and jelly beans? Nobody really knows.
Nobody does know. Especially with those gummy vitamins. Oh, those things are addictive.
All right, so I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
I think this was just me sitting and talking about A Boy and His Blob for a while.
You were really excited about A Boy and His Blob, and I just kind of sat here because I kind of didn't understand the game.
Finally, something I have history with.
That's right, exactly. My recommendation is that if you're going to play A Boy and His Blob, play the one on the Wii, which is actually now available on the PS4. And play that one because you can hug the blob.
I don't think I knew it was on the PS4.
It is on the PS4. You can download it on the PS4.
I never beat the new one.
And,
it has achievements and everything? Or?
Yeah, I believe it has all that. I actually haven't downloaded it. I haven't played the PS4 version, just the Wii version, but it is available on the PS4, and I would recommend that you download it because the art style is adorable. You can hug the blob.
It is cute. Let me say this, because I don't know if we were clear on this. It is not the original Boy and His Blob is not an easy cakewalk. It isn't. It requires some gaming skills.
Yeah.
There's some precision gaming required.
The blob is still cute. The blob is cute in a way. In a way that an NES game could make a cute blob. But...
So I think the new one on the PS4 is probably a lot easier.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that was my biggest surprise, I guess, playing this one, because the Wii one is relatively simple.
This is original Nintendo, man. Figure it out.
This is the era when all games were super, super difficult to allow you to keep playing them even though they were short.
All right, so that's all we've got for this one. But next time, Russ wants us to play The Adventures of Lolo.
Yes, I probably have as many feelings about Adventures of Lolo.
So tune back into The
You have
Adventures
about
of
a boy and his
Lolo
blob.
if you want to listen to Russ talk for a change.
After I have some coffee. I'm a little low energy right now.
That's probably the jelly beans.
It is the jelly beans because I've been eating jelly beans nonstop, and I ate those Harry Potter ones. So some of them are taste like snot, and
I wonder what snot turns you into.
that's difficult. Snot turns you into that thing from the Mucinex commercial.
All right, we're done.